Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is George Clark. I'm a member of the vestry here at St. Mary's Cathedral. On behalf of the vestry and the cathedral staff, it's a pleasure to welcome you here to St. Mary's Cathedral in Memphis, Tennessee this afternoon. For the past 10 years, we have been blessed to have as our musical director, Dennis Janzer. We're here today to celebrate those 10 years and hear him perform some of his original compositions for us today. So please sit back, be prepared to be entertained, and enjoy the afternoon's festivities. If you'll direct your attention to the back of the service program today, you can see upcoming events in the Cathedral Concert Series. March 23rd, May 4th, and June 8th are all highlighted with different events which we encourage you to attend. For those of you who wish to support our concert series music program here at St. Mary's, you will see at either door, or actually at all three doors, including the back door on Poplar Avenue, a red basket. Your donations are more than welcome to support the concert series program here at the Cathedral. So without further ado, please let's welcome Dr. Dennis Janzer.
Good afternoon. Welcome to St. Mary's. I thought what I would do with this concert, because it's all my own compositions, is tell you a little bit about what goes into deciding what to compose, how to compose. And what I've done with the program is divided up into different sections. You can kind of see a line. So what I'd like to do is, in each of those sections, is withhold applause until we finish each group. The first piece that I'll play is called Fanfare. If you look behind you, there are fanfare trumpets sticking out from the back wall. And so this piece makes great use of that, antiphonally, back and forth between that and the main organ. By the way, those are loud. So be ready. I thought we'd have a little warning. What I did, and this is quite an old piece, let's just go with that as far as time when I composed it. We were with a publisher, Wade Leopold, who has most of my organ works. We were trying to come up with pieces to use at like pipe organ encounters or anything that the Guild did to have pianists to try the organ. So this, the first piece really has limited pedal use, and when it makes use of the organ are the sounds. It's easily played by a piano player on first time on the organ, developing some skills, and it makes use of changing keyboards, which of course on the piano we only have one. We have four here, so it keeps you moving around, and that's another skill that's really kind of exciting for the first time that a pianist moves to the organ. The second piece, Toccata Fluide, the idea of flowing waters. Again, it's very pianistic. There's a constant motion in the hands alone. Pedal comes in only for a few notes at the very end. So again, it's something a pianist could do. It requires some registration changes, so the sounds change. There's a middle section that's quite lovely. We have a new set of, I'll call them little bells, and you'll hear those in this piece. Soliloquy, a quiet piece. It makes use of the vox humana, which means human voice. It really doesn't sound like that, but nonetheless, that's what they call it. We have two of them in the organ, one up in the swell division, and if you turn around again, if you look at the ceiling in the back, there is lattice work. That is a tone chute that goes up to more of the pipe organ. So there's about 400 pipes up in the back of the cathedral attic that sound through there. And so that piece uses a very soft stops back and forth. Toccata classique, it's hand patterns of chords. It's typical of American toccatas. However, what I did differently in that was to in the patterns in the hands, there's a syncopation that gets set up as well. There's a delightful section in the middle, give us a little reprieve from all of the sound, and it uses the flute stops, and again it varies the sound by going from keyboard to keyboard. Here we go with the first set. The next selection is the Adagio from one of Purcell's sonatas, and then a Rondo de Concert. A rondo is a returning theme, and the theme I'm using is from Purcell's incidental music from Abdelazar. And that was the theme that Benjamin Britten had used for the young person's guide to the orchestra. So it should be familiar. And what Benjamin Britten did was take all the different voices in the solo voices and sections and wrote something on each of those themes for those specific instruments. The publisher, Leopold, my publisher, said, why don't we have something like that for the organ? I said, well, we will. And so I wrote this arrangement of using the theme. And so it explores all the different sounds of the organ, the soft ones, the unusual stops, there are mutations, there's all sorts of organ terminology. You'll get to hear them, you don't have to know what they are. What it does, though, is build up beautifully to the climax. going to do is play two of my piano compositions. These again were composed many, many years ago. The first one, the Adagio Lyrico, I was one of the accompanists for the Milwaukee Ballet Company. And I accompanied classes and some of the rehearsals, and I just enjoyed the music associated with the fluid ballet motion. And one of the things that they do often is these adagio, slow, graceful, beautiful, slithery motions. And I thought, oh, I could write a piece that kind of captures that. So I hope I did. That's the Adagio Lyrico. The Nocturne was even an earlier piece, but what I did was kind of explore some of the, I'm going to just call them some of the sounds of the piano. It happened to be some very specific things I was after, and I think I captured them without going into too much detail. It is, I'm going to say, sort of like a Chopin nocturne or like John Ireland, the concept where there's a flowing left hand and a melody above that. What I did quite differently was add a little extra, I'm going to call it, it's not really syncopation, but extra rhythmic gestures in there. And then the middle section moves to a foreign key, becomes more fluid, but is in 5/4 time. So that certainly would have been unusual for any of those other composers. the next work, The Joy of the Lord is Your Strength, was a commission. And that means somebody said, I have a special occasion, what will it take to get you to write a piece for this? So this was for a friend of mine, Gus Barnes. He was ordained into the Lutheran ministry back in September of 2018. A friend of mine, Dennis Wolfgang, an organist, was the one who kind of coordinated this with his church to commission it from me for that occasion. And what's very specific about commissions, you know when and where it's going to be performed and who's going to perform it. The biggest thing is looking at the organ that was going to be used for the premiere. So writing for it, I wanted to make special use of all of the sounds available on that organ, and make it sound the best it can for the type of piece I'm writing. It was a celebratory piece, so it's kind of like trumpetings and dotted rhythms. However, they didn't have a big solo reed like we have here. So what I'm going to do is use stops and registration that would be associated with that instrument. So you kind of get more of a feel of what it sounded like in that place. The following work after that is the Exordium, Fugue, and Toccata. An exhortation starts this. I wrote this piece when, back in September 23, we got back into our buildings after 7 months of scaffolding and construction work, and it was a mess in there. So I thought, well, when I start this piece, it has all these craggy lines and some dissonance and crashing chords and things that, it's a work area. So kind of listen for that and think of what happened to the place with all of these big metal beams. But one of the neat things, though, was the scaffolding went right to the top of the ceiling of the cathedral. And through many staircases, very dangerous, but we went anyways. Oh, don't tell the construction. So you could get all the way up to the windows and to the back organ. So right immediately after all of this commotion, I feature a very soft theme played on the echo organ again up there. That theme is going to be very important throughout the entire piece. But anyways, it's presented very softly on a flute stop and kind of ethereal. It was really wonderful when you could get next to the windows and really look at them closely, where you really could touch them, right next to them. So it was really quite a wonderful thing. So throughout the piece, I tried to capture some of that construction aspect. Then it goes into the fugue. A fugue starts with a single voice, and it actually is the same theme that we heard earlier, so maybe it will sound familiar at that. But one note at a time, a single melody line, and then a second one enters, and then a third, and then a fourth. And it's as if your diversion, you look at this after you got in here for the first time, and then you see something else, and another one comes in. So I thought the fugue was a wonderful way to express that development as you look around and start to see all the different things that we're here. It goes into a big toccata. Toccata is a flourish. It's just a lot of noise. Okay? The wonderful thing about this instrument, it has great pedal pipes and a huge sound on the bottom end. So really within the toccata, the hands are very busy making a lot of commotion up and down the keyboard, and the pedal stakes the melody. You can be assured that everybody gets a turn to come in at the end. This was at one of the National Guild of Organists conferences that I was at. The First Baptist Church in Washington, D.C. was at the time putting in a new, big, enormous pipe organ. Had 5 manuals, twice the number of pipes as here. And I got to know the organist, and they had the console actually at the convention. So I looked at it and I sat down and I said, you need a new piece for this. And he said, I guess we really do. So I got the specs again, finding out what the organ was going to have on it for stops. When they were describing this organ, and it was at a time, the idea of the Baroque revival was a clarity, a different type of sound that was after. This really was part of that resurgence to bring back the instruments from the 19th to the 20th century, large, romantic, heroic instruments is the term they often used with these as they got bigger and bigger. So I needed something that would show off some of those heroic sounds. It had a lot of beautiful solo quiet registers, and so I thought, I have to write some things for that. It was not for a service, it was for the dedication. So again, you can do different types of things there. The first 2 movements really can be isolated and used in a church service. In fact, I have used both of those here and a couple of other places. They fit very well in the concept of church literature, postlude, the first one, majestic trumpet. It uses the different trumpets. That organ has quite a few that we also do. So, in fact, I'm saving the big trumpet for a later movement because we have all the other trumpets. You'll hear them in conjunction with stating the melody, whose turn it is, and different colors. The pastorale, it's a nice relief from the big moment before that. Pastorales are generally of a flowing nature. Capturing nature, basically, is the whole idea. And again, it allows for some use of some beautiful, quiet, solo stops. Scherzetto and chorale. Scherzo is a fast, jovial piece, so there has to be a bit of humor in it. One of the things, as I was getting this commission that the organist asked for, the church is First Baptist Church. And so the first letters, F, B, C. So those are used throughout the piece in a melodic gesture as harmonic and things. Some of them are very blatant. You will hear them, especially in the scherzo. It starts out and just repeats that F, B, C, F, B, C. So prior to that, it's been hidden but used a lot. So the scherzo makes use of, again, not triadic harmony. So there's seconds. It sometimes sounds like you're just kind of, like a little bit in this last one at different times. Some dissonance. But still in a jovial sort of fashion. Also, it shows off different stops. But then it goes into a chorale. And the chorale is really, this first time that you're hearing it in the chorale movement, is all the lush, soft stops coupled together. So you would feel like it's in the middle of a big string orchestra that you hear all of this wonderful sound. And then the scherzo comes back at the end and kind of laughs at the whole thing. The final movement, it's called toccata. Again, a fast-moving finger piece. There's all sorts of different things going on. But really what I did in there was take all the themes from each of the previous movements and combine them in there. It all comes back at the end in one great big heroic adventure. You will hear in the trumpet, the majestic trumpet at the beginning, this rising fourths and fifths. Maybe Copland-esque, he did fifths and fourths on some of his. So anyways, there's this, that certainly comes back. The chorale comes back, only this time it's not timid. It uses really so many of the wonderful chorus reeds and the bigger sounds on the organ. And then it builds up, and at the end, all of the solo reeds get coupled together, and they get to present that enormous theme that you heard at the beginning, somewhat altered, but very stated. So it really is almost like a symphony. So there are 4 movements. Enjoy. really is an honor to be at this place, and I have enjoyed it so much for the past 10 years, and looking forward to more. And some more pieces that I will be writing. I've got some in the making that will be out soon. Please join us for a lovely reception, and we actually, if you notice in your bulletins or your programs, there's a listing of all things that I have published and stuff, and I decided you really should see them, so they're hanging around in the room. So not only is it worth the food, wine, and fellowship, but have a look around in there as well. Thank you so much for coming.